I like immediately divorced him because children was the outcome that I wanted to have.
Oh.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Mm.
It was terrible, but like I told him from the beginning, like I got married so we could have children, and then he found out he couldn't have children after we got married. So now I am actively looking.
Karma's a bitch. How do you know you're gonna be able to carry children to term?
Exactly. I know. That's what I do know that. It is fair. I'm not it is I'm like I said,
So I'm
nervous.
asking seriously, man, this is not really a value judgment as much as I'm just trying to hold the mirror up to you because you say the shit you say to people around you and they let you believe this stuff. I'm telling you, as somebody who got no dog in the fight.
Yes, sir. You just found it. Intercourse with you. Let's chat. Welcome to the Intercourse Show. I am your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very exciting show. It is the renowned reaction show to the Kevin Samuels Most Savage Moments. Yes, as you know, The Godfather has had some moments where he interviewed callers who pretty much got the best of him, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, either the most funny moments or the best advice. It was definitely savagery. Savagery in the fact that he told the cold truth with no filter. He gave him a shot with no chaser, and to me, it's a very entertaining watch. So we're having a little bit of fun and we're reacting to these clips. So join us as we look at Kevin Samuels' most savage moments.
With him just to make him feel comfortable.
Have you had any therapy?
Yes, I have in the past.
You need to go back.
Oh my gosh, really?
You're already trying to make him feel comfortable 2 weeks into it.
Right.
That's too much proving to do. You're not his wife.
I'm just being nice and being like,
That's
hey,
not being
like,
no, it's not it's not being nice. It's being a people pleaser. That's not normal. That's not normal. You want to be nice? All right, let's go out a couple of times. I need you to give me $10,000. Be nice. Oh, be nice.
no.
I mean, come on, be nice. Be nice. I need $10,000 and we need to go ahead and run the Soul Train up. Be nice.
No.
Of course. So there are things that sound crazy to you.
Yes. Yes.
Sharing your location with somebody you've gone out with twice is crazy.
Facts. Okay, we're going to pause right here real quick. In a prior clip, Kevin Samuels talked about being nice. This young lady eventually thought that if she shared her location with the guy that she just started dating for 2 weeks, that it'd be perceived as being nice. And therefore, somehow, some way, that would be more reassuring to him that, she's a good girl. Kevin has a point. That's a very fatherly advice that he gave her. Why would you have to reassure someone after 2 weeks, you know what I mean, about your whereabouts? If the distrust is that high, that early, then it's not going to get better in the future. So being nice doesn't necessarily mean putting yourself in danger with a person who might be very well psychotic, right? Being nice means, you can be upfront about what you're doing. But if you have to go to the extent of sharing your location simply because the man doesn't want to believe you when you say, I'm going here and I'm doing this, 2 weeks into the relationship with no reason for him to believe otherwise, then you might have to pay attention to that because that's a major red flag. Moving on to the next clip. This young lady says she's a 10. Seems like Kevin's about to go in. All right, let's see.
Being pretty is not enough for a lot of men because I'm pretty and I'm still single. So
what do you want?
I don't know. I really don't know what I want because these men, they don't know what they want. A lot of men don't know what they want in women.
Mm.
Okay, the last clip, that's all Kevin had to say was a look. She said she's a 10. Kevin looked at her and said, come on now, get it together. You know you ain't no 10. And we moved on to the next clip. Now in this one, this lady's going in. She's talking about she doesn't know what she wants, but she's looking for a high value man. So Kevin's about to address this one.
You said you're how old again?
33.
33. So regardless as to what men want, you don't know what you want?
I mean, I know what I want, but
Well, what is that? Guys, remember the first thing I said about ego? They're not willing to be honest.
to be honest with you, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know what I want in a man. Like, I've been screwed and fucked for so long, I don't know what I want in a man.
Just in this little bit of time of talking to you, it's been chaotic. I'm just asking you just the basic stuff about who you are and what you want. And the story where you told the story is, yeah, you can't make this shit up, people.
To let you know, I have.
Okay, we're gonna pause real quick. And on that last clip, so we had a young lady who called and said she didn't know what she wants. And unfortunately, that is very, very common. A lot of women have not defined the things that they want in a man, right? And a lot of times men will even ask a woman, hey, what do you want in a man? And they'll be like, no, I'm not going to tell you, because if I tell you, you're just going to act like that for the time being, you know, just to make me think that you're this way. And then you're going to change up and I'm not going to tell you. Ladies, I think that is a foolish thing. I think it's always good to convey to a person that you're dealing with for the first time exactly what you want, so that that person knows by what metrics you're going to measure your relationship with him by. If you say, I want a man who communicates to me how he feels and doesn't bottle his feelings in from the beginning, and then during the course of your relationship or interaction with the man later on down the line, he does not do those things, then you can rightfully go back to him and do a review, a performance review. Hey, from the beginning, I told you I value communication. And when you get upset, you know, you seclude yourself, you don't talk to me. That is a problem for me. And that is the reason that I'll use to justify walking away from you. Versus you don't tell the man that you value communication. He doesn't communicate with you. And then all of a sudden you just find yourself in a position where you're holding it against him because he should know how to communicate with you better, right? To me, we're not helping ourselves win in these situations. Let's actually help each other, right? Communicate, over communicate, tell the man what you want. Naturally, if you haven't defined what you want, it is very likely that you will end up disappointed because you don't even know what you're attracting, right? If you know you want a man who's going to be respectful for you and you don't define that up front, and a man comes out and he starts to disrespect you, then that means you're going to tolerate anything from anyone. So define what you want up front so that you don't have to deal with whatever's out there because you didn't. All right, moving on to the next clip. This young lady, she's got some stuff for Kevin. So now let's see how he handles her.
You changed my life and made it 360.
The 360 puts you right back where you were, but I understand what you're saying.
I made a 180. I found Lord, and I got a man that's got money now.
You found the Lord?
Yeah.
Where'd you find him at? I didn't know he was lost.
I didn't know where the Lord was.
Okay. This is all inside of last 4 months, right?
3 months, 4 months. Yeah.
It's a lot of changing in 3 or 4 months. You said you got a man that has money now.
Yeah. I do. I just wanted to let you know also, I wear my bonnet in public. I saw what you had to say about that. You know, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, like,
Make this shit up.
Hmm?
At the same time, you what?
Did you tell me shut up?
No. I said, go ahead. You said at the same time.
At the same time, I just don't see what the issue of wearing a bonnet in public is. I got married, but I don't want to be with.
Okay, so that last clip, we didn't really even play the fullness of that clip. That last clip is crazy. So this young lady calls into Kevin Samuels' show all the time, and she's constantly provoking him. I don't know if she calls to troll him or whatever the case, but she has always got something to say. She's always coming for him. And Kevin oftentimes finds himself in a situation where he has to address, her antics. So this time around, this young lady called, and the ongoing inside joke is that she found herself a man that she can now respect.
I'm like sharing my location with him just to make him feel comfortable. Is that
Have
weird?
you had any therapy?
Yes, I have. In the
You need to go back.
Oh my gosh, really?
You're already trying.
I do. I just wanted to let you know also, I wear my bonnet in public. I saw what you had to say about that. I get where you're coming from, but at the same time,
Can't
like,
make this shit up.
Hmm?
At the same time, you what?
Did you tell me shut up?
No. I said, go ahead. You said at the same time.
At the same time, I just don't see what the issue of wearing a bonnet in public is.
Okay, that last clip with this young lady, this is probably her second or third time calling into Kevin's show. And she told Kevin she wants a high-value man making 6 figures. Now, she obviously is overweight. She is a bit delusional in terms of what her expectations are. And it seems like she always calls to troll Kevin Samuels. So the clip wasn't truly shown to you guys, but Kevin really goes in on this young lady. He literally ends up totally clowning her for the attempts that she's making to essentially troll him. And, when he says you can't make the shit up, you really can't, because the whole bonnet issue, he had a show redressing why women wear bonnets. And this lady was calling as a proponent of women wearing bonnets at the airports and places like that. And him and her clashed in the prior show because of that particular topic. On top of it, he had a show talking about rating women. She had a concern about that. So he clashed with her against that. He then had another show about, high value men and why women want them and whether or not they're the type of women that the high value men would choose. She came on the show and said she thought that she deserved, the highest value man because she's a 10. And so that was another thing. So when he says you can't make this shit up, it's got a lot of context to it. And so definitely one of those classic shows that for those of you who haven't seen it, I would definitely encourage for you to go watch. All right, moving on to the next clip.
I got married, but I don't want to be with
You got
them.
married?
Yeah.
You currently married?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, ma'am. Are you trolling me?
No, I'm not.
A platform with 1 million folks actively talking about leaving your husband to get back with your ex.
Because he's high value, and I felt like.
And the reason you want to break your covenant with God and wreck your home of the pipe fitter guy is because the previous guy was higher value, meaning he earns more money?
Yeah, and his social status, how he looks.
What would the world say about that man?
It would say that this woman he got back with is the one he always wanted.
She belongs to the streets.
And his.
Okay, so in this clip, this young lady calls and she's seeking a high value man. She is presently married to a person that she said in the video that she was a high value man. But because her ex-boyfriend went out after leaving her and made something of himself and earns more money than her current husband, she now calls his show and tells Kevin she wants to go back to her ex-boyfriend because he's a high value man, and she thinks that, you know, he would be happy to take her back. So she's essentially petitioning on the show on live internet to get her ex-boyfriend back while her husband is somewhere at work, possibly watching her do this online. And so Kevin is totally shocked. And as you can see, he starts to play some clips saying she belongs to the streets, because really and truly the behavior is just so far-fetched, it's hard for anybody to understand. Ladies, if you have a man and you're not comfortable with the man, it does not behoove you to embarrass that man in the manners that you guys do by going online to do something that would make that man's image look bad. It's better you cut things off with that man and move on, rather than to do the man the way that this young lady is doing her husband. All right. So that clip was crazy. I would definitely encourage you guys to watch that particular show in its entirety, as that is a very, very juicy, juicy show. All right, moving on.
When it comes to other
His social status, how he looks.
What would the world say about that man?
On to the streets.
These, excuse my French, niggas alone, they always want to take me to court.
What does that mean?
It means that it's like when I break up with a guy, I go through divorces because they can't take me, leaving them in the dust, in the dirt, where I left them at, because they don't act right. So I have to move on. Is that right? Do you think that that's right?
Why are you such a poor judge of character to pick me and you gotta leave?
Run that back. I couldn't really.
Oh damn.
No,
Oh damn. Why are you such a poor judge? No, ma'am. I listened to what you said. You came in and talk about how you feel like you in divorce court because you got to leave these men in the dirt. And all I hear is you're a shit judge of character picking men because you don't leave quality men.
You absolutely right. So God, please stop telling me.
That's no. God ain't got nothing to do with it. No, God ain't got nothing to do with it. Please don't bring my God into this.
Okay, in the last clip, that young lady also is a regular. She would call in on multiple different shows and they'd go back and forth. And she apparently called this time saying that she, for whatever reason, kept picking men that weren't good men. And Kevin pointed out, why do you continue to pick men that are not men of good character? I think she had like 3 or 4 baby fathers and just was not, you know, properly guided. Now, in her defense, this young lady has had, you know, a hard life, and I don't think she had a male presence in her life. And that's always something to keep in mind. You know, sometimes people come from crazy situations where they didn't have a father figure and they don't know any better because no one taught them. So even as we do this show, this is not to be critical of people. It's just to let you know that these things are outside. They're out there in the dating world. For people who are outside dating, they run into different women like this. And I think you have to be prayed up, you know, and equipped to deal with somebody that, you know, has these type of traumas that they're dealing with. But in her particular case, she just was not a good choice of a good person to choose men that would treat her well. And unfortunately, it led to her, you know, making poor choices. And Kevin eventually had to, you know, tell her the harsh truth about that. All right, moving on.
Children anymore. And he was unaware of that. So I immediately divorced him because children was the outcome that I wanted to have. It is what it is. It is what it is. It was terrible. But like I told him from the beginning, like I got married so we could have children, and then he found out he couldn't have children after we got married. So now I am actively looking.
Karma's a bitch. How do you know you're gonna be able to carry children to term?
Exactly. I know. That's what I do know that. It is there. I'm not it is I'm like I said,
I'm asking seriously, ma'am, it's not really a value judgment as much as I'm just trying to hold the mirror up to you, because you say the shit you say to people around you and they let you believe this stuff. I'm telling you, as somebody who got no dog in the fight.
Okay, so in that particular clip, that woman was married to a man. She wanted to have children with that man. Unfortunately, he found out, I don't know if it was cancer or whatever the issue was with him. He could not have children. And she immediately divorced him, or is in the process of trying to divorce him, so that she can recruit a high value man on Kevin's show to have children with. And apparently that rubbed Kevin the wrong way. I think it rubbed a lot of men the wrong way, because a lot of men want to believe that the women they marry and they take on as wives actually love them, don't necessarily just see them as utilities, don't necessarily, want to feel like these women aren't really in there for them. So in this case, this is a woman that showed that she's very, what term would I use? She's very like, I don't know. Maybe I'll say vain. She's very vain. Maybe she's a bit inconsiderate. It is true that, when you take on a husband, the intent might be to have a family. But the point is, when you marry someone, you should not just marry someone that you're willing to leave the moment you can't get them to do something you want them to do. I think the original purpose and intention of marriage was supposed to be a covenant till death do us part. In today's day and age, modern day marriage does not show that. It's not a till death do us part union. It's this sort of like, I'm in it for as long as I feel like I want to be in it, and then I'll just walk away from it. Whereas the old term for marriage used to be till death do us part, meaning that's the only way you could leave your marriage. So this is one of those things that shows how, the mindset of women has drastically changed to the point that they're willing to walk away for anything. In this particular sense, this guy had a medical issue that prevented him from having children, and she didn't want to remain in a relationship with him. Now, I think a possible solution for her, since it seems like she just wants a kid out of the situation and not necessarily a partner for life, go to a sperm bank, get you a sperm inseminated inside of your body, and have you a baby, right? Because it doesn't seem like you really want to put up with a man. So in this case, it's a tough one, but Kevin obviously lost his patience with her. All right, moving on to the next clip.
How old are you?
35. Play in all types of arenas. I work in those arenas. I work in all of those.
Okay, how about this? Do me a favor.
Okay.
Talk to me like I'm 4 or a Cocker Spaniel, because you're not really saying anything. And you said how old again?
I will let you guess.
I don't play these games. You'll either answer my questions or I'll bid you a good night.
43.
Okay. One thing I don't do is I don't do these things.
No,
I don't know you, so you've been married.
We all know this. Keep going.
Well, I will say this though, you've gone from 35 to 43, just like that. That's amazing.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, in this clip, which went crazy, a very interesting show. I would definitely recommend you guys to tune into that full show. this lady called, and I think she was high on something. I don't know what was going on with her, but she had all sorts of stories. She was a mother. She's 45 years old. She's a mother to multiple children. She told Kevin she was 35. And then later on in the show, she told him she was 43. So she couldn't keep her lies straight. Then she was trying to say that she somehow can qualify for high value men because she's been in rooms with all these types of men, that she's literally has had access to, I guess, the celebrity men, the rich businessmen, multiple men. But for whatever reason, none of them are trying to wipe her up. And I think Kevin noticed that there was an element of her whole stick that was trying to troll him. So he really lost his patience with her and kept it extremely real. And obviously, he didn't want to tolerate another second of her talking. But he was definitely keeping track of the details she was saying, and definitely caught her in all sorts of lies and things. And it made her look crazy. Anyways, moving on to the next clip.
This is crazy. I don't like liars.
I think it's best to date, not just to have a relationship. You don't have to put a title on everything, Kevin. That's what you need to start telling these people. A title, you don't.
No,
have
what I need to do is I need to direct people to this video and show you what's wrong. You don't need to put a title on nothing. It needs to just be free flowing. Yeah, yep. And over here, stuff works. Where you at, it don't. You don't need to put a title on everything. You can have babies out of wedlock. You don't need to be married. You can do what you want to. Mm-hmm. We're the only community that operates like that. That's why we got to take power back from these mindsets. Have you ever opened up something at the building that came with instructions?
Of course.
And it came with parts?
Of course.
The way you're talking is you just start doing shit. You don't need the instructions. You don't need that. Just start putting shit together. Uh-huh. You want to live on the 5th floor of a building like that?
You got me sweating, Kevin. I'm gonna leave.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go.
Okay. That show was also a very interesting show. This young lady calls in. She's a younger person. You know, I think she might have been in her mid to late 20s. And she was essentially trying to tell women not to listen to Kevin Samuels' advice, that it's not wise to put titles on relationships, and they can do relationships without titles, and they don't necessarily have to follow these rules and these, you know, these constructs, these social constructs that's currently in place. And as you can see, Kevin was a little peeved with her. He didn't really appreciate her trying to grandstand and, you know, make him look bad on the points that he was trying to make. So as you saw, he essentially cross-examined her and put her on the. Apparently you got all the answers, but you know, we live in a society that puts titles on things. And so, you know, then the mindset of a lot of these women who are sometimes very lost in their thinking, right, causes the men who get in a relationship with them to have a lot of distress. And it's unfortunate that seems to be a common occurrence nowadays. You know, women in the dating pool don't necessarily think in the ways that women, you know, in the traditional dating pool, their great grandmother's age used to think. You know, they value marriage, they value relationship different. And I can't say it's fully their fault. I think it has a lot to do with what they were taught in their household or not taught in their household. And unfortunately, this is the results of it. This is how people think when they don't get the proper teaching. All right, moving on to the next clip.
So when's the last time you held a job?
Like a year ago, I was cashier.
Okay. And was there an injury or something?
No.
So
No, just I was fired for being late.
So you just lazy?
No, it was.
So you just tried.
I was late.
Nice fingernails.
Thank you.
You do those yourself?
No.
You went and got them done?
Mm-hmm.
Who paid for that?
I paid for them.
With what?
With the unemployment money.
Are you trolling me?
No, but Kevin, don't you think I have to look like something?
I think you need to grow up.
Oh, okay.
If you were a man, they would call you a deadbeat. But the only reason you get away with this is because you got 2 kids and you get unemployment, so you're juking the state. Then you got the nerve to have these fingernails up like you got money to pay for them.
Okay, that clip I think is pretty self-explanatory. A young lady calls in. She's the mother of 2 kids. She wasn't that young, actually. I think she may have been in her late 20s, early 30s. And she had 2 kids. She was unemployed, but she was calling Kevin's show seeking a high-value man. Now, Kevin noticed that obviously her nails was done, but she hasn't worked in months. And she told Kevin that she was using unemployment money to pay for her nails. And Kevin proceeded to point out that she's very irresponsible, right? She has been juking and finessing the state to helping to support her, when in actuality, she's pretty lazy and not really the type of person who's working hard to take care of her children and her responsibilities. Now, I think that little clip showcases a good portion of women nowadays. I'm not saying all women are like that, but there are a lot of women that are takers, that are, for lack of a better term, leeches in a way. They don't have any really real intentions of actually contributing to a household. They feel that they should be provided for by whoever it is that they're in relationship with. So when you take somebody like that on, you're kind of inviting that mindset into your household, that expectation into your household. If she's not willing to work to provide for her 2 kids right now, she's damn sure not going to be willing to work to provide for her kids when you take her on as a partner. And so she's going to expect that whoever the man is that decides to court her, it is now his responsibility to sustain and provide, not just for her, but for her children. Meanwhile, she's going to use her time to be at home, being lazy, getting her nails done. So, it's food for thought, fellas. Think twice before you decide to commit to a woman like that. Moving on to the next clip.
There's a football player, Brian Banks. He spent 5 years in jail. The woman who accused him of lied about it. She got $2 million in some sort of settlement or something, blah, or whatever. Then she was found out to be lying. Video evidence proof, her confessing that she made the entire thing up. Has she served 1 day in jail? Nope. So when they lock your son up, take his rights, ruin his life, not his, because once that's out there, it's there forever. It never goes away. No. And
I
then
really
if she,
right. I don't think my son would ever be in that situation. I'm just saying.
I want you guys to understand what she just said. I raised my son right. I don't think he'd ever be involved in that situation. You mean involved with a vindictive, lying woman?
Yeah.
Do you live in the United States of America?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm going to pause that clip. That show was a very fiery show. I would recommend that people go and check out the full show. That show, there was a woman who called in and she was telling Kevin that she was seeking a high-value man, as always. And Kevin started to sort of ask her a few questions to determine what her past was and why, as an attractive woman, hasn't she locked in a man. When Kevin probed her a little bit, she mentioned to him that she had been in an abusive relationship. She was making all these allegations about the abuse. And Kevin, having heard this one too many times from a lot of different women, proceeded to stop and ask some questions. When he asked her some questions, it came to find out that there was never a police report for any allegation, for any abuse against the man that she said she broke up with. And Kevin decided to take that time to address a bigger point. A lot of times women are vindictive and they lie and they misrepresent the facts. And this lady, who was the mother of a few children, she had sons, said that, apparently a lot of women are the victims of abuse and things of that nature. And there's truth to that. There are women who are the victims of abuse. There are men who beat women. That is a true statement. But I think the rate that gets projected out, especially towards Black men, is inaccurate. And sometimes women have used the believe all women concept to kind of manipulate and to kind of lie and to kind of take advantage of the situation. And so what Kevin was pointing out is there are examples of this throughout the U.S. Where men are falsely accused of things like rape, of things like abuse, murder, things of crazy, unfathomable things. And even when it's found out that the women are lying about these things that they accuse the men of, not only do they still get to keep their settlements and not return the money, not only do those men lose out on countless years in jail for the false allegations made about them, not only if there's video evidence to exonerate these men, these women face absolutely no consequence whatsoever to address the lies that they told to get that man in trouble in the first place. And he gave plenty of examples in that, where a woman could be found lying, where she could admit to lying many years after the fact. And never do you see anything in the justice system that now holds her accountable for lying, wasting taxpayer dollars, destroying somebody's life, taking precious years from somebody's life, getting someone locked up for no reason. They get to walk away from all those allegations, all the lies they told. They get to walk away from it scot-free. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed in our society, right? We have to do something about the fact that someone of the opposite sex can accuse you of any particular crime, could accuse you of any crazy thing. And unfortunately, even if it's found that they were lying about it, you still have to face, the consequences of that person's lies. And they, even after they're found to be lying about it, can still walk away from the situation scot-free, unscathed, untouched. That's a bigger issue that needs to be addressed. All right, moving on to the next clip.
Holy shit, that sounds bad.
You're making it sound bad. Yeah.
It's the truth. You have a 3-year-old who's a cancer survivor, and you're about to go out and put her off on not your mother, but your mother's mother.
Oh, she's in her 80s right now. I mean, I'm happy you're actually talking to me about this, because I would never know if this is not okay or not.
What is so goddamn important that you got to get out to drop a 3-year-old with an 80-year-old?
Honestly, nothing. I was honestly just trying to go out and I haven't been
blow off steam.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, so this clip,
you the way that you feel,
is a pretty interesting clip with Kevin Samuels, the Pride clip. That clip was a young lady who obviously was a young mother of some children. She obviously is looking for another man. She wants to mingle. She's single, but she still has the responsibility of a child that she brought into the world with a man that obviously is not in the picture anymore. So what she's doing is she is leveraging not her mother, but her grandmother to look after the kid while she goes on living her life and parties and do all the things that she wants to do as if she didn't have the kid. And Kevin got to a point where he had to address this issue, because this is a prevalent issue, especially in the Black community, or I'd say in America, not just the Black community. A lot of women have children, and then when they have children, they drop their children off at people's houses so they can go party and they can go live their best life and, just be a loose goose, if you will. The problem here is children tend to be your responsibility. And if you are going to have children, typically for most people, children slow you down, because you have to kind of shift and modify your life. You can't do the same things you was doing when you have the responsibility of a child to take care for and to fend for. So what most people do is they still have the children and they take that responsibility and they pass it on to someone who's already handled their responsibility. The grandmother was responsible for raising her mother and possibly responsible for raising her. And now she's taking her child and dropping it back at the grandmother. What's unfair about that is the grandmother, her whole life has been in servitude. She has no time to actually live her life. And even at 80, when you would think she'd have a little bit of a break, somebody else from her family tree is dropping yet another baby at her doorstep. That's not right. That's not fair, right? We all have to put our time in to handle our responsibilities. But when your kid becomes grown, you know, they are making grown decisions and they now have to take the mantle for them to handle their responsibilities. Ladies, you can't have young kids and feel like your grandmother can be abused simply because you don't want to stick around and handle the responsibility of looking after your own children. Sometimes you got to go and say, you know what, that's not fair to my grandmother. I know she would. And there may be times where it's necessary. There may be times where you have to work. There may be times where you have to do more pertinent things. Not to say there isn't times where you should give yourself a break and go out and have a good time. But when you make a habit out of going out week to week to mingle and act all single, but you're dropping your kids off to somebody who's probably tired, who's raised kids for generations, and who herself needs a break, it's not fair. And I think that's why Kevin was a little, shocked that the lady had no consideration for the fact that this grandmother already served and raised her mother, and now she's being asked to raise her great-grandchild. This is ridiculous. All right, moving on to the next clip.
Like you should be treated or how you deserve to be treated. So it's always good to have a backup plan. But I'm not saying have a backup plan because you should be faithful to your man always, no matter what.
Well, okay. Have you been drinking?
Have you been drinking?
No, we don't play that shit. You know how that goes.
Oh, okay, yeah, I have.
Yeah, we don't do that shit. I don't play that snarky ass comment.
Last time.
No, I don't play that snarky comment.
No, but no.
Okay. So here's the thing. Okay,
same thing as last time I went live with you. I was drinking.
Yeah. Last notice. I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to respond to your statement.
All right, go ahead.
If you're saying a man is not treating you right, get another man.
But the thing is,
no. Because if I flipped it up and saying if your woman ain't doing what you want to, and I told a man to go out and get some more ass, you wouldn't like it.
Okay, we're gonna pause there. So that was some quick advice that Kevin Samuels gave this young lady. She obviously called the show drunk, and she was kind of all over the place. And obviously he pointed that out. But her advice was apparently she's with a guy who's not doing her right. And if you're with a guy that's not doing you the way you want to be done, leave him. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your precious years investing in somebody that isn't for you, right? A lot of times women spend 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15, 5, 4, 3 years with a man that they knew on day 2 wasn't the right fit for them. And what you're doing is you're wasting your precious years on somebody who ultimately doesn't value you the way you need to be valued. So ladies, walk away earlier rather than later. All right, moving on to the next clip.
You don't worry about, you don't have to ask the guy the kind of money he has because the men you typically date are older and have money.
Yeah. But I think, in general,
but my point is men your age wouldn't have stand a chance with you because most don't have money. Thank you.
Right. But to each their own, everyone is different. I think that
everybody's different. We're more alike than anything else. And the bottom line is this. Would you like to be married one day?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to be submissive and obedient to your husband? There she goes. You can't make this shit up, people. You can't make it up.
Okay, we're going to pause right here. That show was a younger woman, probably in her mid to late 20s. Very attractive lady. She was living that fast life, dealing with older men, had a bunch of different people that she was dealing with. But unfortunately, she wanted to find a man you know, her age range, who was ready for marriage, ready for family, ready to be responsible, but also who was a high value man. And Kevin was making the point that most high value men take some time to work up to that place. And most men that young, you know, are not thinking about being settled down and starting families, right? They're trying to build their empire. They're trying to build their, you know, their resources up so that when that time comes, they can actually take on that responsibility. This young lady was not trying to hear it. And apparently, as he was starting to give her advice, she saw fit to cut the conversation short. A lot of times that happens in relationship. When you try to give someone sound counsel, they zone out, they check out, and they'll either go to the point of blocking you, right? Because you're not yes man in them. So in this case, that's what happened there. Going on to the next clip.
Why didn't you marry the man you chose to have a child with?
He wasn't good enough for me.
Well, then okay. So what I need you to understand, on the open dating market, you come into the open dating market with a baby from a man you say wasn't good enough for you. To us, to men like myself, to men with good sense, that would say she is a poor judge of character because she gave a man the highest honor a woman can give any man on the planet. A child. And then she gave a man who wasn't good enough for her a baby. Sorry, ma'am. Don't get upset. Because
I agree with that.
But if you agree with it, then understand. There's a reason.
But I also want to say that I'm allowed to make poor judgments in my life because.
Well, yeah, you are. But you are. Stop. No, yeah, you are. But we don't have. But understand. So listen. You are, but the world does not owe you understanding.
Okay, gonna pause here. This was a show with a young lady who apparently had. She was a serial baby mama, I guess you could say. She had multiple children outside of marriage, out of wedlock, with different men. And Kevin was trying to point out to her that even though we do make mistakes as young people, when you continue to repeat mistakes and then expect someone else to come in and take over the responsibility of the mistakes you made, it's unrealistic. Her point of view was she deserves a high value man, even though she has shown poor judgment in the people that she's chosen to have children for and with. And so Kevin's trying to say to any self-respecting man, they're going to analyze your history to determine whether or not you're a suitable match for them, whether or not your judgment is sound. And this young lady was not trying to receive that feedback. She was not trying to hear that counsel. She was saying she's allowed to make mistakes. And yes, we all make mistakes. Into a habit of making the same mistakes. And when the same mistakes are so costly that someone else would have to bear the burden of your mistakes, it becomes unbearable. And it tends to be a huge red flag for men, especially responsible men who limit their mistakes, right? Who don't make a habit out of repeating mistakes. So ladies, lesson there, please be deliberate about how you move. Please consider the type of life you want to live. Don't just get stuck in the moment, living your best life, being reckless, having children for men you don't intend to be with out of wedlock. And then think sometime down the line, someone's going to come and rescue you from that. That's not wise, right? And Kevin was trying to be kind to her in that he's trying to teach her. Again, we go back to the fact that a lot of women haven't had the male presence. They didn't grow up with a father's presence in the household to help them understand how to choose a proper man. And to that, you have to be sympathetic because they don't know any better. But ladies, I pray, especially for the younger women, listening to this broadcast, make sure that you don't repeat mistakes like that, where you're a serial producer of random men's children and you're expecting someone else to come in and take care of that burden for you. That is a costly mistake that has gotten the best out of one too many people. And it's best that you just are wise, you're proactive, and you make wiser decisions up front. All right, moving on to the next clip.
So I cheated a lot in the beginning.
Okay.
Then I ended up leaving him. He cheated once, and I couldn't get over it. And I
Okay.
haven't been able to get a solid relationship since then.
Child with him and then a child after him.
The child after him was like a revenge thing. I was upset.
Okay, well.
And I had a child by his cousin.
Oh, Jesus.
My question is, I'm trying not to be salty towards like all men. And I'm trying
Why should you be salty? I mean, ma'am, no disrespect, but what you just said is you told a story where you were a young woman dealing with a man, and for 10 years you were fucking around. He cheats one time.
No,
and you bounce.
not the whole 10 years. Not the
Doesn't
whole
matter.
10.
It doesn't matter. 10 years, 3 years, and 5 years, you were cheating a lot.
Yeah.
He cheats one time, then you decide to get salty and leave, and then on the way out, you screw his cousin and have a baby with him.
But it's not like his blood.
And I'm just getting the story right, man.
Wow. Light-skinned lady was a woman who was in a relationship with a man, and over the span of 10 years, she cheated on him. She was a serial cheater on that man. Apparently, in retaliation, the man cheated one time. Then she decided to be more vindictive towards him, and she proceeded to cheat on him with his cousin, and then decided to get pregnant by the cousin as this affair was going on, to have a baby just to rub it in on that man. And then she was calling Kevin asking for him to hook her up with a high value man that she can get with. And it's only when he examined her that he found out that this information that she was disclosing in the clip. Now, there's so much wrong with this that it's hard to even keep a straight face as you talk about it. Women should not be vindictive, right? My pastor said this: when you are bitter, it's like drinking poison and wishing someone else would die. Bitter decisions made out of a bitter place in your life will ultimately be detrimental to you. And ladies, I understand that when a man hurts your feelings or does something that you don't like, that you sometimes think the best way to get back at him is to get even or to do something along those lines. But that was not a woman who was happy with her decisions. That was a woman who was miserable, who was aging, and she was burdened by the decisions that she made in past. And so if you want to avoid the path that this young lady took, don't be vindictive. The hardest thing to do in any situation, that goes for both men and women, is to forgive somebody and to give it to God and let God handle the situation. A lot of us don't do that. A lot of us choose to take things into our own hands. A lot of us choose to handle it our way. And when we do that, we dig ourselves a bigger grave and cause more stress and more problems for ourselves. Now, I've been young. I've made poor decisions. And there's been times where I dug myself into a bigger hole than I needed to. So this is not something that's unique to this lady. A lot of us have our stuff with us. A lot of us got baggage. But that doesn't have to be your narrative for the rest of your life. You could change course and do something better. Now, that's sort of sums up everything I have to say on these Savage Moment clips with Kevin Samuels. The show itself is a great show for you guys to extract some good information from. I know he's a little off-putting for some people because of his style, but all in all, I think Kevin Samuels is a well-meaning man who only intended to, awaken some of us and to encourage us to figure out ways to make our household work, our relationships work, so that we don't continue to be divided. Because as a divided household, we're not winning. There's high incarceration rates for our children. There's a lack of education for our children. There's huge disparities between men and women. There's a lot of divisiveness, a high divorce rate. It's just chaos. And our community is hurt the most by it. So, you know, I think it's God's will that we find ways to work with each other. So I would encourage anyone who are having hardships to seek God, man. Find you a good Bible church, get in the Bible, find out how God would want you to do relationships, and try to implement his principles in your next relationships so that you can actually get a desirable outcome. Otherwise, you will continue to we will continue to return to do the same patterns back and forth. The same results we're getting now, because insanity is literally doing the same things and expecting a different results. That was all I got for you guys today in this show. Please like and subscribe to the page and stay connected. Again, maybe not everything I said in this show, you know, was agreeable to everyone. Like my pastor said, chew the meat and spit out the bones, right? I'm not perfect. Obviously, I think, you know, my voice to the situation can help people extract something positive out of it. So I would encourage people to just find ways to work with each other and find ways to stay united as opposed to being divided. All right. With that said, have a good day. Signing off.